Hello, my name is Andrew Hutchison in Perth in Australia. I'm from Curtin University, and I'm going to be showing you in this video the very basics of how to do this technique called 3D reconstruction from photographic images. So we're going to be looking eventually at how to reconstruct an object as complicated as a sailing ship. This is, of course, the Curtin replica, which we have here in Western Australia. But before we start with that, I'm going to first demonstrate the very basics of 3D reconstruction using a much simpler object. And I'm going to start by showing you this reconstruction of an object I found on my holiday. And I'm going to show you this way because I want you to understand how very, very simple it is and very, very fast it is to do if you understand the technique. So I was on holiday with some friends and my family, and we were staying in this house, and the house has a gate to go into the front yard. This is my wife, and she's sitting in the car with the snacks down here, and this is my friend Pete, and they're all waiting for me to get in the car because we're going fishing. But I wanted to photograph this object. So it's actually a very old enamel painted teapot which has been used to hold open the gate that goes into the garden. And it's been exposed to all of the elements, and it's extremely rusted and corroded, and has a beautiful texture on it. So it makes a great example. So I'm using a very ordinary camera, just a medium quality one with the file size set to maximum and JPEG. So I take a picture and then I move a few centimeters to the right and I take another picture, and once again moving a little bit to the right and taking another picture. Now with 3D reconstruction you do need to take a lot of pictures, but they need to be quite close to each other but different from each other, and that's because as you go around you need to be able to see the same feature appearing in many photographs. And as features start to disappear as you go around, other features start to appear. Now these features can be on the actual object, like these rust marks, or it can be this little bit of plant growth here, or it can be some objects in the background. So we keep on moving around, and we can see there's lots and lots of texture and detail in here. But you'll also notice that I'm in such a hurry that I haven't got time to check that every photograph is in focus. This one isn't, the previous one wasn't. Now, the teapots had a long history. Someone has glued these decorative glass beads on, and some of them have fallen off and left a glue patch. And also another feature I'm noticing here in the environment is this wood chip, which we're going to see more of as it comes closer. And there's also this very big rust crack happening here. So we keep moving around, and I'm also noticing these raindrops. It had just finished raining. And we move around, and pretty soon we're going to be back to the spout of the teapot, which I have been using as a reference point, so I know where I'm starting and finishing. Then I move up a bit, and I go once again all the way around, and I'm going to go much more quickly through these pictures now, but you can see that now we're looking down into the space, and you need to have lots and lots of pictures to allow the 3D reconstruction software to be able to put it together accurately. Back to the T-spout and up one more. Now looking further down into the teapot, but also getting a better view more directly down onto the ground and onto the top side. And so this goes on and on and on. So this is actually back here. This object here is the foot of the daughter of my friends. But that doesn't matter, and in fact down here you can see my foot as well. And you can also see that in this one picture I've put in the lens cap of my camera. Now I happen to know that that's 52 millimeters across, so I've put that in this one picture so that when I go back and reconstruct this I can actually measure that and then use that to scale the whole teapot to the correct size. So we keep going around and around. Now I'm also getting wider and wider, and that's important because we're including the environment that the teapot's in. This may be important and it may not be important, but I just like to make sure I'm getting it all. Okay, and so that's how you take your pictures. Now I'm going to show you what happens to those pictures. Here are all the pictures, about 150 of them, all loaded up into this 3D reconstruction software. There they all are. Now what happens is, it's a very time-consuming process. I'm just going to rearrange my windows here. To process all that data takes an ordinary computer a very long time. I've pre-rendered this one so you won't have to wait. But what you get is a low-density point cloud. Now, as you can see, there is the shape of the teapot. And once you're sure the pictures are going together, you can render a high-density image. So this is a point cloud, and if you are familiar with laser scanning, this is a very similar principle. But then we can also look at the 3D model we've created. So this is no longer one image, but a 3D model made up of all of the information gathered from all of those images. And because we took a lot of images where there was a difference between the images, but the difference was small, you can see how beautifully this has all come together. And we can see all these geometric elements, including that big rust fracture and the glue patch where the glass beads have fallen off. But what's particularly powerful about this 3D reconstruction software is that you can also choose to have it map back onto the 3D model the actual photographic textures. And this is very, very powerful. And you can see here even the water drops from the rain shower. And we can zoom, or rotate rather, down here and have a more detailed look at this crack. So this is a very powerful way of capturing the exact character and nature of every unique object, as well as very accurately capturing its actual geometry, as well as being able to rescale that and reuse that in any other environment. So these models become completely exportable and can be included and used in the way that 3D models and AutoCAD models can be. So very, very powerful. Now, this is an extremely simple object in a very simple situation. It's quite small, there are no obstructions, there are no safety hazards, and there's nothing in the way of the object. Clearly, how to do this with something as large and complex and detailed as a wooden sailing ship is much more complicated. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how I have approached that with the Dufkin.